델타포스 선발에서 체력은 기본입니다. 정작 그들이 찾는 자질은 따로 있었습니다.
During wartime, you guys are killing people every single night and at close quarters. And then you get right back in the helicopter and fall asleep. And then you get home and you say, okay, what's for dinner tonight? Like, what is that? Is that the same quality that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Where, like, what is it though?
We used to joke, somebody will probably get mad at me for saying this, but the type of person that can actually do that is probably, you do a lot of psychovals, and there's a certain profile of a guy and character and upbringing and background that they're looking for, the psychs are looking for. You know, I went to selection with a lot of great guys that were just physical studs, and, you know, I can't tell you how many of them blew through the physical part, no problem, which is very difficult, by the way, but they had issues with the psychological part, or they were just passed over for a reason unbeknownst to them or anybody else, but they didn't fit the profile. And honestly, I think those type of units are looking for guys like me with my background, because end of the day, like, you know, you're on call as an operator. You could be sitting at home having dinner with your family. Your pager goes off. All of a sudden, you're on the plane to bumfuck who knows where, and you're going to go burn down one of the top 10 terrorists in the world and probably all of his buddies. And 2 days later, you're back home walking through the front door, kissing the wife and kids and the dog, and like nothing ever happened. And we'd done that a lot. Or you do it for 4 months on a deployment and come back home and nothing ever happened. So I think it takes that special type of person to be able to flip that switch immediately. And, you know, not everybody can do that.
So what is that though?
살인에 망설임이 없는 사람. 국가는 그런 사람을 찾고 훈련시키고 전쟁터에 보냅니다.
We used to joke, and I don't know if this is true, and somebody will probably get mad at me for saying this, but the type of person that can actually do that is probably borderline psychopath. And, you know, it's a very fine line. And we're able to stay on this side of that line because we're patriots and we're doing what we feel is the right thing for our country and our families and, you know, and the US, right? But then there's, you know, once in a while you get a guy or two that'll stray and cross that line, and it happens, right? And then if you look at the rest of the population that's already on this side, those are your murderers and killers and everybody that's in prison for that stuff. But I really do think we're on the edge of that fine line, and that's probably why they hire us. But there's also a difference between knowing what's right and wrong, right? And that's where you draw the line.
그들도 무너집니다. 다만 말하지 않을 뿐입니다. 강한 척이 오히려 독이 됩니다.
Yeah, absolutely. I would even say it does chip away at you, at most people. I was definitely a different person before the war. I can admit this because I can look back and I've done a lot of work on myself over the years, and, you know, I try to place the timeline of, you know, back before 9/11, I was in Ranger Battalion. It was a lot of fun. I was a fun guy, you know, had jokes for days. And, you know, after a couple deployments, I was not the same person. And definitely by the time I retired, and, you know, my mom came to visit me in LA, and she's like, "Son, I don't even recognize you anymore as a person." She told me that to my face, and it was pretty harsh. But I was in a really bad spot then, and you know, of course I didn't listen or take it to heart at the time, but I do remember her saying that, and she's right, absolutely. I was not in a good spot physically or mentally, and took a lot of work to get out of that. So yeah, I agree with Tom though, like, you know, it does change your outlook on the world and humanity for sure after you see a lot of that stuff. But I also say that it does change you as a person, whether you admit it or not. And I think more than anything, your family and your wife and those close to you are going to see it the most. Whether you admit it or not, it does. And the fact of the matter is, we still have guys committing suicide. We just had one recently, a few weeks ago. And a handful of my buddies have committed suicide. And it's fucking sad. So I'm just out here trying to do what I can to, one, get the word out. There's a lot of great programs out there that can help guys out. And, it's an education piece. It's, and guys just need to step up to the plate and put the work in. That's a big part of it.